You can just see the white cliffs of Flamborough Head over there. Hello again, welcome to Bridlington. Now we're in the South Cliff car park, and I'm going to have a look at how it is now and describe how it was a very long time ago, such as about 70 years ago. This area here used to be a bus terminus. There wasn't a car park, there wasn't any of these buildings. We'll walk along here. And right out there, you can see the pirate ship. Oh, it's an incredible scene here compared with what it was like in the early 1950s. If you were in Bridlington then, do you remember it? For example, all of this, it's like a scene from a science fiction film or something compared with what it used to be like. Now, there used to be low earth cliffs, an earth cliff with the sea, the high tide, eating away at it. And all of this you can see here with the sand dunes. All of that wasn't there actually at the time. These beach huts weren't there. And here, area down there, there's a very deep, underneath all that sand, there's a very deep, probably 20 feet sloping concrete area in the shape of a sort of a crescent, now totally enveloped by sand. You would never guess what's under there. We used to slide down it as children. You could just about, on your hands and knees, climb up it, you know, with bare feet when you were wearing a swimming costume or something. I don't remember this path being here. Certainly that structure wasn't here. And looking down at this, you can just see about 2 meters of the slope there, but that goes really, really down about 20 feet. All this sand has filled in. What an incredible change. And over there, that filled in. So the cliffs are not eroding away here again at all. They surely must have made some adjustments to the beach and those groin things that sort of stop the sand from washing away. I'm assuming that further down the coast there, as it goes down towards Withensea and on towards Sperm Point, that the low earth cliffs are still the same and eroding away. Now walking along here, so what was it like back in the 1950s? Well, just as I was saying, there were low earth cliffs here being eroded away by the tide. So there was the bus terminus here, and the bus ran along the front here down into Bridlington and back. And along here there was an earth path, a sort of gravel path going along to the campsite along there. Over on the right, where you now see these holiday chalets, there was actually a caravan park. And we used to come here to, here it is, look, it's called Wilthorpe. Sandy beach, approximately 1.8 kilometres in length with a gentle slope. And we used to come here. There's Bridlington Harbour again for reference. Well, we used to come here as children, and it used to be like paradise coming here on holiday. There was the holiday camp there with I don't know who owned it at the time, but we used to play on the beach. There was sort of an outlet of some sort coming out of a pipe onto the beach. If you were here in the early 1950s, do you remember that? Because I think it was a sewage pipe coming out from the camp, or from somewhere beyond that. It was just water coming out of it, but a sort of a frothy, yellowy scum water. We used to play in that and make little dams. And this was before the polio vaccine came out. You remember the polio vaccine, or we all used to have it, was it a drop of something on a sugar lump, and you'd take that, they're not vaccinated against polio. This was before then, so there was actually polio out in the environment. I mean, my music teacher at school had polio and was in a wheelchair, and children used to be catching it. And of course it's transmitted in sewage. But here we were playing in the outlet there, because basically no one told us any different. It looks like there's been an invasion of moles here. Again, looking down at this fantastically different scene. So what you'd have is sheer drop, crumbling cliffs. Oh God, all changed. So we used to play in that outlet, and back in the camp itself, this is going to be quite disgusting describing this to you, so if you're a bit sensitive, just turn it off, please. But the toilets used to be, as I perhaps mentioned before, like, if you remember, if you can sort of visualise like a half dustbin of metal with a big toilet seat on the top of it, like a gigantic drum. It's actually, I think it was half an oil drum with a square toilet seat on top. Now you would sit on this toilet seat, and in this half oil drum with the seat on top was some sort of chemical. And of course, as you use this toilet over the course of weeks or months, it gradually used to fill up, and it used to be absolutely disgusting. I remember coming to Bridlington once, and it was 2 inches from the toilet seat, the fluid inside and other things inside it, of course, 2 inches from the toilet seat, and the splashback from it. For a long time after that experience, and that was the only toilet, but for a long time after that experience, I refused to come to Bridlington, as my sort of great aunt who had a chalet here, and I refused to come unless the thing had been emptied. You think of probably the golden days of how things used to be. Let's just remember that. Holiday homes for sale. I looked into renting one of these little cabins on here, but of course it's much cheaper these days to just go abroad than try to holiday in the UK. A couple, that is. If you're a family of 4 or 6, for example, I suppose it makes a lot more sense. But there were some steps just about here down onto the beach. It's probably this very spot, actually, now long gone. The steps having rotted away decades ago. And back there, the beautiful town of Bridlington, because here I am. It's still Saturday the 22nd of February 2025, and a couple of hours ago I was down in the town there filming the earlier video to this one. I find this area very reminiscent of how Lytham St Anne's is at Blackpool, or how Lytham St Anne's was last time I saw it about 60 years ago. I haven't walked along here at Wilsthorpe since I was about 8 years old, so it's quite a long time. Yeah, the path reverts to something quite similar to how it used to be. Now, here, where you see there are some boats there in a sort of an enclosure. Here at the top was almost like a little village, a home away from home. We used to wear hats with feather in them. It was almost like a little community that you joined when you were on holiday. Actually, a little tiny cinema on this campsite. I remember seeing a western here with Doris Day in it, who was a big film star back at the time, and lots of other films. And much to my surprise, here we are, having walked right out of the area. I recognise that house over there, and here is where the holiday camp used to be. So now it's gone, and all of here was the little tiny village away from home, like I mentioned, and there was an amusement arcade, you know, slot machines, where you went and put your pocket money into these slot machines. A friend of mine calculated when this one slot machine would pay out, and it was every 17 or 18 cycles, and this kid had worked this out. I don't know how he did that at all, but we used to wait for about 17 or 18 cycles of this thing, which would take about probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then get a payout. One day I noticed the owner of this place watching us closely, and after that, next time we came, it had changed at the machine, and we were never able to win again on that. Actually, over there I can see some of the chalets that were there in the 1970s, but they've sure made this very difficult to get to from the Clifftop beach area. So let's turn left down here and just see what happens. I recognise that area. You used to be able to just walk straight out here onto the sea, down the cliff, onto the beach, but now it seems as though you've got to go right along here and on there. Just amazing, I think, to have a site like this, and seems to restrict access to the beach so much. We'll take a right turn here, down what I think is 4th Avenue. Yes, it is 4th Avenue. I think a lot of these are up for rental for a holiday stay. Fourth Avenue. Well, I've stood here many times. "70 years ago, when I was 6 years old." Seems incredible to say that, and also to see these wooden bungalows still here after all that time. and see that aircraft. And you used to lie in bed here as a child on holiday, and first thing as soon as it was dawn, this would be probably about 1953, 52, 53, you would hear an aircraft come over which was sort of identified as a Coastal Command RAF Shackleton. Of course, this was just after World War II, and the coast was still being patrolled. And here we're out at the bottom of the park, and it seems to have changed here, almost as though some of the roads have been removed. I'm trying to find the chalet that used to belong to my great aunts in the 1960s. I'm not sure if I can find it here. Before that, in the early 1950s, there was an earlier set of old chalets which were knocked down, and they were along the bottom road there. That's the bottom road. There was one called Summersville, which I came to when I was a 2-year-old, I think, perhaps before that, but I remember being about 2-3 years old and playing on the it had a little wooden veranda, and had some seashells on there. My first experience of that sort of thing, and it was definitely along here. Now these quite old, weathered chalets are actually the replacements for the ones that were knocked down. I must say the charisma is not here like it used to be, in my opinion. It used to be absolutely beautiful. These are sort of these wood chalets. They used to be absolutely beautiful in a sort of a 1920s, 1930s style, the old ones. I said good for a holiday, perhaps, if you've got children, but is it? I don't know. It's just not how it was. I mean, it was a sort of a thriving, sort of booming holiday camp, and you had a cinema, like I said, right in the middle of the camp, and a lot going on. Whereas now you don't seem to really have anything here at all. Was this the one? It's got some sort of store there. Hopefully that's not the toilet. I'm sure it's not. Well, I can't even identify where I used to stay back in the 1950s. It's all changed so much. I'm not surprised there are so many for sale. Anyway, walking along here, There's a public toilet block here on the left, and here you see where this play area is, on this corner. This is where the cinema was, I think. And here we see a sign to the beach. I find it how incredible that that's all sort of fenced off. We just channeled down this narrow path here. And here we have modern times. Just talking to that young woman. She's just brought a chalet here. I'll just point out one more thing. I don't know whether you can see it from here, but there's a long line of things going out into the sea up there, and they're tank traps from World War II. I'll zoom in. I used to stand on those and fish from them in the late 1950s. Anyway, that's the tour of Wilthorpe concluded. Take care now. Goodbye.